Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mr. KB. It is October 22nd, 2017, and I'm gonna keep this short. They lost. 40-10 was a final score, with the Niners losing to the Cowboys by a whopping 30 points. I believe the Cowboys scored 21st in the first quarter, and the Niners weren't able to catch up after that point. Yeah, this one wasn't quite as rough to watch as the last five, just because you kind of knew from the get-go that there was going to be no way in hell that they caught up, which is kind of sad to say. But you knew it was kind of over in the first quarter. I'm not going to put it all on the rookie, C.J. Beathard. He had his first start today, and it's not really his fault. Like, yes, he had a couple fumbles, and he had a couple, but those all are the end results of pieces not being there for really anybody to succeed. The O-line was terrible. They got overrushed, overpowered pretty much every other or every third play, which doesn't allow a rookie quarterback or really any quarterback to get into a rhythm, get into a flow. And he got hit a bunch of times. Some of the things that I will say about CJ is that he needs to know when to get rid of the ball. One of the things I did notice is that he holds onto the ball way too long sometimes because he's trying to create something. So I do give him credit for having the guts to stand in the pocket, wait to see what develops. But unfortunately, this is not like college. You don't get to make those mistakes and then rectify it with a 60-yard bomb or a 40-yard bomb or even like a 15-yard slant. Like, you don't get those chances in the pros. So he needs to learn to adapt to the new schemes and the new speed of the NFL. And I believe he has the fundamentals to actually learn those things. I'm not gonna say impressed. It's hard to be impressed with a quarterback when they lose by this much, but fundamentals are there. Gutsy, accurate. He can zip the ball in. He can take a hit. So I believe that there is something there that they can develop on. Whether or not he is like the next franchise quarterback, it's too soon to tell. But he can be a very good catalyst to get to that point. The defense, I still have no issues with the front four and the linebackers. The biggest issue is what I've had pretty much with the Niners forever and a day is they don't know how to acquire or draft cornerbacks. The cornerbacks are atrocious. They get beat in almost every passing play whatsoever. And the only way they don't get beat is when the other team beats themselves and either throws behind a receiver, overthrows a receiver, throws below the receiver. Like, the cornerbacks have rarely, if ever, really made any good plays this season. And that needs to change. The safeties is kind of unknown because you don't know how bad the safeties are if the first layer and a passing defense is broken. You don't know how to judge the people in the back. So I'm not going to say anything about the safeties. I believe Eric Reed is still a good safety. Hard hitting when they were part of a winning team. He was a very big catalyst for that team's success and defending the deep ball. One thing that I will say, and I believe I spoke about this earlier this week when I made the video, is at this point, it looks like they're not going to finish 10-6, or sorry, 6-10 as my prediction was. Because at this point, they would have to put in together consecutive wins, and it doesn't get any easier for them to kind of pull that off. They play Philly on Sunday. Philly's 5-1. They lead the NFC East. Unless Philly just pretty much goes to sleep on them, I don't see the Niners beating them at 5-1. But if they do fall asleep on them, then it is possible. This team, I believe, is built to take advantage of teams who don't take them serious. But I doubt Philly's going to try to let one go. So, with that, it looks like the Niners will again have a top 5 pick, or best of a worst case scenario. They'll have a top 3 pick. And I don't think any quarterback is worth a top 3 pick in any draft, to be honest. They hardly ever work out to the degree of the initial upfront investment. I really do think what they need is a shutdown corner, and they need people on the O-line. They need a strong O-line to protect whoever is behind center. And with that in mind, what I would want as a fan is, forget any notion, because this is rumored, forget any notion of signing Kirk Cousins. We do not need an overinflated contract on a team that's still developing. Because I don't care who you get behind center. With that line, you can get Brady. You can rejuvenate Favre to be this Favre of 20 years ago. You can rejuvenate Steve Young to be the Steve Young of fucking 20 years ago. It's not going to matter who you put back there. If you can somehow clone Joe Montana and bring him back at a younger, better self than he is at his older age. Not that he's not a great person. I don't know him. But as a player, it's not going to matter because the O-line is atrocious right now. They give up way too many sacks, way too many hits. It doesn't matter who you put behind there. So they need to cement that wall first. And then get a shutdown corner. I still truly believe that this team is 4 to 5 key signings away from being a top 10 team, if not top 15 team, like being in the better half of the NFL ecosphere when it comes to that. And one of the pieces they are not missing is a quarterback. You don't need a $200 million contract at $20 million plus bonuses to take away from what you really need to be developing, which is not grabbing Kirk Cousins. This is going to be... I got nothing personally against Kirk Cousins. You know, from what little I've seen of him, what little I know of him, he could absolutely be a fantastic dude. And a dude I would love to have fucking beers with and drink with. And we can chit-chat about other shit, including other teams. But I do not want to see him in a Niners uniform next year when we don't need such a huge contract at that position. It didn't work out when we got Kaepernick for $17 million because he wasn't worth that much. He was worth half of that at most. And that did not work out. And what did that cause? That caused us 3 years of not being able to develop the next franchise quarterback because we put all our beans with him. Kirk Cousins is not worth that risk again. If they happen to sign Kirk Cousins, it's preemptively, but I'm going to say, you know what, I can't deal with it. So many bad decisions have been made since letting go of Harbaugh. The firing of Harbaugh was one. You hired Tom Sula, which I thought, okay, you know what, he's been part of the Niners family for 20 plus years, not a bad hire. 5 wins, I was like, okay, that's not terribly bad. There's things you can develop there. They let him go. And then they go with Chip Kelly. Oh my God, Chip Kelly. I ranted about that hire, and for the most part, I was correct. 2-14. And now you got Kyle Shanahan, which I got nothing against personally, other than his resume doesn't speak as somebody that can really develop anybody. And his style is something that I don't like. You cannot be an offensive coordinator and a head coach. You have to be one or the other. You have to fight. You have to let go of your ego that you are the smartest person in the room and nobody else can offensive coordinate the way you can offensive coordinate. You have moved past that position. If you want to have influence in that position, that is totally understandable and acceptable. But you cannot do 2 jobs at the same time. They had to pull him to the sideline to challenge a Dez Bryant incomplete pass because he was talking to the quarterback. You can't do that. You have to be the general focused on the field at all times. You cannot split your attention. It is scientifically proven that is the most inefficient way to do any task whatsoever, especially one that you're being paid millions of dollars to actually do. But again, I got nothing against him personally. John Lynch, he had a good draft and everything else. So I think combined they can create a team that we can be happy about again as fans. But do not sign Kirk Cousins. That will be the death sentence for the next 4 to 5 years for this franchise due to money invested into one player that we don't need and also into your careers because you will produce one of the most losing teams for the foreseeable future. And I'm being 100% with that prediction. But anyways, we play Philly on Sunday. It's a morning game, 10 a.m. because it's an East Coast game to play at Philly. Hopefully they can wake up. Hopefully they can play better and be hungry and try to steal a game away from Philly because that would be fantastic to get it. I now owe my friend a Starbucks drink because, they lost today. And my other friend is a Phillies fan, so most likely I'm gonna owe him like Korean barbecue or some shit if they wind up losing. So anyways, just win. Just win. Please just win. This has been Mr. KB. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.